Hey guys, Katie here. I got a quick story for you. But first of all, I do have a question. When do you know when you got to make that decision to push through? When you could be at crossroads in your life. You could be at a big decision, in your life. It could be with your finances. It could be with your family. It could be with your job. It could be with your business. And, when you reach that point where you've got to make a decision, you either got to keep pushing through or you quit. There's really no in between. And it's never easy, facing that decision. And we face it often, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I face that decision. And there's been times that I've pushed through, and there has been times that I've quit. There has. Some things are worth it, some things are not worth it. But that's when you have to kind of decide, why it is you're going in a certain direction, why it is that you're going to do what you're going to do, why it is you need to make that decision with your finances or your marriage or your relationships or your family or your business or whatever. But I remember a time in my life when I used to compete in figure competitions, and I did it, as a hobby. I never really actually saw myself getting more on the professional side, but I found myself competing. And the more I was competing, the more I did really well. And so that actually inspired me to want to keep going and maybe possibly get my pro card. But to fast forward to this day, that's absolutely not where I want to go. And I'm so glad actually God took me in a completely different direction. And he really showed me something greater that he had for me than just that path. Not that that was a bad path, because that was a great time in my life that I absolutely appreciated and loved and still think about to this day, but from a place of, growth and maturity, not from a place of regret or anything like that. But anyways, I remember I was getting ready for a show, and I think it was like my seventh show in a row. And when you get to that point, you do that many shows in a row, you get tired. And I know that a lot of competitors, still friends with a lot of them, some of them compete a couple times a year, some of them a lot more than that. And it starts to take a toll on your body, it does. But I remember after about my sixth show, my next show was going to be nationals. And I ended up cheating really hard on my diet. Not that it wasn't like I was eating a whole bunch of candy or ice cream. It was like I was eating steak and potatoes. Like I was just loading it up. And you would think, being in that great a shape, that my body just would have absorbed it. Well, I kind of was going into spillover. I was carrying a lot of water weight, my hormones, and I was just getting, my body was just kind of saying, okay, you need to take a break. Well, I already made the decision to do that show, and I already paid for it. I've already paid hundreds of dollars just to be in that show. And about 2 weeks before the show, my trainer saw me and he was like, "You look like you're 6 months pregnant." And I'm like, I swear, I've been working so hard. And the truth is I was cheating on my diet, and I needed to focus, and I just completely lost focus. So long story short, it came down to a decision. The decision was either I did the show or I pulled out. And I was like, I'm not pulling out. It was because I made the decision at the beginning of the year that I was going to do that show, period, end of story, and I was going to go do it. And so I did. I ended up pushing through. I ended up getting all the weight off in a couple of weeks. Although I got no carbs, my body went in total ketosis. I cried like every single day. And it was at that point that I realized, I was like, man, it was totally worth it. Actually, I ended up placing the best I ever placed all year at nationals, and it ended up being a very good show. However, the lesson that I learned number one, never get lazy when you're working really hard. A lot of times, when we start getting results, yeah, or any kind of results, we kind of back off, or we're scared to get more results, or whatever. But number two, you got to push through. You got to push through even when you don't understand everything. You got to push through even if you don't even know if that next 2 weeks I may have not got down to my competition weight. It may not have happened. You know what I mean? I may not have been able to get on that stage. You know what I'm saying? I could have worked hard for 2 weeks and it still may not have worked out. That's not the point. The point was, did I give it my best? The point was, did I push through? The point was, I set a goal and I achieved it. I would have learned a lesson, right? And I did learn a lesson. I learned a hard lesson. But the point is you've got to push through. You've got to push through. You're always going to be faced with decisions in your life that are going to affect your life. Absolutely. You've got to learn to rise above all the circumstances that are in front of you. And you've got to push through. You do. You've got to push through. So anyways, if this blessed you today, join me on Facebook. Connect with me on Skype. And if you want to do what I do, make literally thousands of dollars online, very, very, very part-time, you can do so by clicking the link below and joining our team. We're just having a blast. As a matter of fact, this literally is the easiest thing I've ever done. So click the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. Bye-bye.